Healing is not a finish line, it's not a checklist, and it's certainly not something you perform to prove your progress. Some wounds hide in plain sight, beneath the routines, the smiles, the affirmations, the success stories you post for the world. But healing, true healing, isn't about how much better you look. It's about how much softer you've become with yourself. So if you're still snapping at small things, still disappearing when it matters most, still haunted by quiet, sleepless nights, this video is for you. Because these are the 7 signs you may not be as healed as you think. And it's not to shame you, it's to free you. Let's walk through them together. Sign 1. You still overreact to minor things. It starts small. Someone forgets to reply, someone cuts you off in traffic, a partner says something in the wrong tone, and suddenly, you're boiling inside. The floodgates burst open. Not because of the moment itself, but because of the weight it carried. That's the sign, when small things feel like betrayals. It's often because deeper wounds are still raw. Maybe you were ignored growing up. Maybe your needs were never a priority. Maybe you were taught that being loud was the only way to be seen. So now, when someone misses a text, it doesn't just sting, it confirms an old story. You're not worth the effort. Healing isn't about perfection. It's about recognizing when your reaction doesn't match the moment and asking, with compassion, what is this really about? Sign 2. You've just learned to numb it better. Distraction isn't healing. Busyness isn't peace. Sometimes we convince ourselves we've moved on, but really, we've just gotten better at silencing the noise. We dive into work, scroll endlessly, clean obsessively, drink more than we admit, or hide behind humor, always the one who laughs things off. But healing doesn't mean you stop feeling pain. It means you stop running from it. True healing happens when you sit in stillness, when you let the grief visit, let the anger rise, and allow it to pass without judgment. Because avoidance is just emotional debt. And eventually, the bill always comes due. Sign 3. You're still afraid of vulnerability. If your first instinct is to say, I'm fine, when your heart is clearly breaking, you're not alone. For many, survival meant silence. It meant being strong. It meant not letting them see you cry. But here's the truth. If you still think vulnerability is weakness, you're likely carrying pain you haven't laid down yet. It just means you still need time, safety, and small, sacred spaces to practice being seen again. Sign 4. You can't talk about the past without either rage or numbness. Try this. Say their name. Recall that moment. Bring up that season of life. And then, notice your body. Does your jaw tighten? Does your chest shrink? Do your eyes sting? That's your nervous system talking. When we're truly healed, our past no longer hijacks the present. We might still feel the ache, but we're not drowning in it. So if you still flinch, still clench, still get that lump in your throat, you're not weak, you're not behind, you're human. Some pain takes decades to leave. Some never does. But it softens. And when you can finally talk about what hurt you without bleeding all over yourself again, that's when you know healing is happening. Sign 5. You struggle to receive love without earning it. Do you push people away when they get too close? Or work overtime to deserve their affection? Do you only feel valuable when you're helping, fixing, proving something? If love still feels like a transaction, you're likely still healing from a time when it was. Maybe you grew up being praised only when you achieved. Maybe you were only noticed when you gave too much. Maybe you were told that resting, receiving, or needing made you a burden. So now, when someone offers love, freely, you doubt it, you test it, you quietly self-sabotage because if they really knew you, they'd leave, right? But hear this, you don't need to perform to be worthy. You don't need to overfunction to stay lovable. You don't have to be perfect to be held. Sometimes, healing begins the moment you allow yourself to receive love with open hands and nothing in return. If any of these signs resonated, pause, place your hand on your chest, and breathe. You don't need to fix it all tonight. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You just need to remember, healing isn't linear. It's not a destination. It's a spiral. Sometimes you'll come back to old lessons just to learn them deeper. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're growing. And sometimes, the softest thing you can do is admit that you're still hurting, that you still get triggered, that you're still learning to forgive yourself. You're not behind. You're human. You're becoming. If this video felt like a warm hand on your shoulder, if it reminded you that you're not alone in the shadows, subscribe, not just to this channel, but to your own healing, to your softness,